My virtual camera wasn't even on. Hi, hello. I don't know what we're doing tonight. I was going to. Well, I was gonna do another thing. One second. I was gonna use that program that I created to pull three cards, but space of the Wheel of Fortune. I can't even pick it up off the table. It's associated with crossroads. But I feel like when it comes to crossroads, usually there's also crossroads in the Nine of Wands, the pugilist, which was the 2026 of it all. Usually, when it comes to crossroads, though, I don't. This has a polar energy, right? And it's funny because I saw on Facebook Reels maybe a few days ago, Neil deGrasse Tyson talked about how the lines of longitude, roughly every 15 degrees, or every 15 degrees roughly designates a new time zone, and they're modified for borders and stuff like that, right? But and he was like, all of the lines of longitude um collect meet at the poles. So he was like, what time is it at the poles? So maybe this also gives an energy of like a timelessness. But it's just interesting. Again, like usually when I think crossroads, it's like two roads that are literally crossing. But this is the space where all roads sort of meet, either where they all end or where they all began or begin. And there's this understanding of destiny. And that's funny because I don't know if I mentioned it, but I don't think I mentioned it. Oh, that's weird. I might need to get some water. I don't know why my teeth are like starting to feel oddly sensitive. Um, But in the Dungeons and Dragons tarot, on the Queen of Cups, and this is the Queen of Cups, so I didn't even clock that because the Queen of Cups came to my mind. In the Dungeons and Dragons tarot, I'm pretty sure it's the Queen of Cups in that deck that came out on a chalk. And she was sitting in like this pool of water that sort of like this. If she was laying in a pool of water and there were all of these offshoots, and it was like you could take one path and then another path and then another path, or you could stay in the middle and let all of these insights sort of flow into you, the things that you like, the cliff notes maybe of what you would have experienced on all of these other paths, like the Queen of Cups that sat sort of at the vertex could just receive all the information that she would need from all of those different paths. And like that thought came to me, but then I was kind of like, okay, but like, what does that mean? Like, what's the context of that to this? But if we think about, take the approach of the one shot, you could say that this is one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, two, four, six, nine. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Yeah. Okay. I'm counting the paths. If I can pick it up. It's like if the Queen of Cups were to have walked down one of those paths, that would have been like the one shot. So, and again, it's like this. Oh, I guess if, I mean, it's not water here, but yeah. So the Queen of Cups sort of stays in the main body. And it's like this is a part of her that went down one of these particular roads, had this whole one shot adventure, and is rushed back to the Queen of Cups before she wakes up, or that's insight finding us, which would be a very interesting. See, I kind of missed doing stuff like this a little bit, which would be a very interesting flavor of intuition or discernment. More so intuition, where it's like you kind of sort of like see it represented in like media sometimes, where it's like, someone gets an invitation to go somewhere. And it's like they go to this place and this thing and this other thing happens. And it's like you get to see, or they get to see how all of this stuff would play out. And then it's like you go back to the beginning when they like get the invitation. It's like, oh, that didn't even happen. It's almost like that. So like our intuition would be a part of our spirit or a soul, an extension of us that goes down one of these particular routes, has this whole sort of adventure, and then things go well or things go wrong. And then it comes back to us, and it's like, oh, my intuition is telling me not to do this, or my intuition is telling me to do this. And sometimes we may get a glimpse or a feeling or a vibe, an inclination of like what might happen if we do it. And I'm not saying intuition is like, oh, I'm not saying anything, obviously, but it's like that would be an interesting flavor of intuition. Like there's this part of us that goes down this particular path, and then the feeling at the end is translated and communicated to us of like, I don't know, I got a really bad feeling about this. Maybe it's like we did it and we like really didn't like it. We don't know the specifics of what will happen, but we know what's communicated back is like, I wish I wouldn't have done, like that regret of like, I wish I wouldn't have done this is translated and or is communicated, is relayed. That regret of having done it is relayed back to us, and our intuition discernment processes that as like, I shouldn't, like I should just go home. I should do something else, go anywhere else, but not here, not now, not tonight type energy. Now, it's interesting that there are 9 paths on the card, but this is number 10. And it's reading to me like there is I mean, I guess we do, which is like sea level. There's a third mention here. And so it's like these are the 9 paths, but then there's a 10th path that like runs up and down when all of these run. Like if these 9 paths were like on the card like that, right? Then the 10th path would go like through the card. Okay, I was when I opened up that second drawer and intuition said open up the second drawer. And the African American tarot caught my eye. I'm like, okay, girl. But again, like the cards that the queen for a queen, and also the Queen of Cups, and we saw the Queen of Cups with the High Priestess the other day in the self read. She is minor pre. Sorry, she's pre High Priestess. Then we have like the Queen of Coins with this understanding of destiny is so interesting because it's almost like that's what she does, and that's how she always makes the right choice. And it's funny. So it's like she can send her feelers out. Like, what would happen if I do this, or what would happen if I do that? I forget what I was on. It was like a text conversation the other day. This is kind of irrelevant, as are many other. Yeah, we one shot and beach episode all day long over here. Apparently, that's. But it was like I have feelings for you. One person, the second person, I have feelings for you too. The first person, what does that make us? The second person, feelers. Because I was like, she sends her feelers out. So it's like, again, with the Seven of Cups, instead of making a choice or decision, I already put the card back and it's in the deck. Now the world is here. I'm curious about this world card. Um, it's like the crow sends out their feelers to each of these different ones and can get like it's almost like feedback. Well, I guess it gets feedback. There's a relay back, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this other thing? And depending on the vibe that's relayed, depending on how the vibe that is relayed back is discerned and intuited, then the crow would sort of like make a decision. For funsies. Queen of Cups. I opened the book right to the Queen of Cups. Oh, 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 oh. This is not the Queen of Cups. That is the Seven. Seven of Cups. Crow rests as she dreams of all the things she wants. Some of her dreams lead to love and victory. Others may result in loss or deception. Because she has created so many choices, she is finding it hard to commit to a decision. And as a result, she is stuck in place. The Seven of Cups advises you to step back and weigh all your options. Take the time to evaluate the pros and cons of each choice with an eye toward the realistic. It is okay to be a dreamer, but eventually you will need to face reality. That brings the deck dungeon challenge of the Seven of Cups, or of chalices in general, to mind. Right? And you can use either perception, which is a wisdom check, or investigation, which is intellect, to choose. So I don't think I want to do that with the African American tarot. So I would do like Queen of Swords for investigation, intelligence, and the Queen of Cups for wisdom, perception. I have the larger deck, but I guess I'll do this. I do have the larger one, I'm sure. The Gilded Tarot Royale is what I'll use. The Nine of Cups was the final card. I feel like I should just use the larger one, but hey, it's what I got. I am still going to use the African American tarot. Oh, that world card. Guess what? Guess what's at the bottom of the deck as I finish struggling through shuffling this little tarot deck? I'll give you a moment as I take another sip. If you said the Seven of Cups was at the bottom of the deck, you're correct. Okay. I love this like validation. I meant to like start there, but anyway. The Page of Swords, the Six of Swords, and the Page of Cups. This is interesting because I'm looking for the Queen of Swords being intelligence, investigation, and the Queen of Cups being wisdom. we have the page of swords and the page of cups and the six of swords, which apparently is all about communication here lately. We have the two pages with the six of swords between them. This reads as it's to use both one's logic and one's intuition. And take it if it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. It's like we are neither intelligent enough or wise enough to properly assess which of these options is the correct one. We are neither solely intelligent enough of intelligence and wisdom, then we could better um, make that choice. I mean, with that, I feel like, I mean, I guess I still could. Why is that? I feel like it's easy to, like, why we may not be intelligent. I mean, it's easy if we say intelligence or wisdom, it's easy to be like, we're neither wise enough nor intelligent enough to make the right choice. Like when it comes to intelligence and investigation, if it's something completely new and we have no basis, no knowledge base, then it doesn't help us. Excuse me. But when it comes to like the intuition, it's almost like you would think that with the right, I mean, discernment is always going to rule out. That's like a good discernment will always, but our discernment will also let us know when we aren't discerning enough, right? And it's like, anyway, um, so it's almost like because of our human condition, we could skew what our discernment makes out of what we intuit, right? Like, let's say that we reach out with our intuition and something seems or reads as incredibly challenging, difficult, maybe like one of the hardest things we will ever do. And we interpret that as like that's the choice that we shouldn't make because whatever reason we're not going for the challenging thing. We're not going for the difficult thing. We're not going to go for the thing that encourages us to grow, in so many words. Or we're not going to go for the challenging, difficult thing because previously challenging and difficult things have resulted or they've been challenging and difficult because of a lack of alignment, right? But it's almost like this is something that we're meant to grow through. And so it's not an inaccurate read for it to be the most challenging thing we have or we will ever have done up to that point in our lives. But it could be like if we interpret that or discern that to be like we shouldn't do it, it's like that's where the fault may lie. And it's like just because it's challenging and difficult doesn't mean that it's not for us to do. It doesn't mean it's not for us to go through. It doesn't mean it's not for us to experience. It doesn't mean that it's not our path. It doesn't mean that it's not in alignment necessarily. It can, but if we were going off of that alone and depending on our state in life, again, we could more likely interpret that one way or another. That's why we can't purely rely on wisdom, intuition, or discernment solely either. And so you could say the marriage of intuition and intellection would be like we get like we reach out, okay, like my intuition is telling me like this is going to be like really challenging, difficult. Then we go to the logical side, or we ask the question, all right, is this challenging and difficult because of like it's not for us and it's this misalignment, or is it challenging and difficult because right, is that transformation for the good, or is that transformation like tower card energy where everything falls apart and we rebuild from the ground up? So like that's this like using both, or even if we start with logic, it's like let's say like right now low hanging fruit, I want to go into this industry for this reason, right? And then we go into the intuition like, okay, does this feel like it's in sort of alignment with me in terms of like, is this for me? Because like I know I see the sequence of events and the build up externally, but just because I see this and just because it may be a great time to get into this field, does that mean that it's for me? Like, let me fill into it a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's this marriage of the two. Or it's how they are already set up to communicate, because a lot of that back and forth and back and forth and back and forth can happen nearly instantaneously or sort of like autonomously. And our discernment will already sort of like parse through, sort of like run all of that. Now I'm talking about it like it's a program. Right. So I'm looking for the Knight of Cups is under that. Page of Cups. Queen of Cups. Here she is. She's in between the Five of Wands and the Knight of Wands. So literally, would we interpret challenge as something that's not in alignment? And would our desires, our wishes skew how we interpret one thing or another, right? Like, let's say that something is like really, really sweet, and we may go like, oh, well, I'm in the market for something sweet. Sweet is my birthright. Sweet is what's queued up for me. But then it's like it rots all of the teeth out of your head and it gives you all of these other issues. Like it was really sweet and it was exactly what you wanted, but anything in excess could be a problem. And like with certain drinks, the sweetness disguises the toxin. So because it's sweet, again, we sort of overindulge to the point where it becomes really, really harmful. So either one is that Queen of Cups. So now I'm looking for the Queen of Swords. And these are smaller, so yeah, I got more room on the table. As an aside, this is so interesting. I just saw the Seven of Cups. Oh, interesting, interesting. So on one side, the Seven of Cups is in between the Tower and the Emperor. So in between Mars and Aries is the Seven of Cups. On the side of the Tower is New World Order, right? So this is given an energy of like, I forget what the other thing was. It was either like Blu-ray or something else. All right, so I think I'm back now. I am not sure. Now, see, I gave YouTube their props a hot minute ago because of how I could resume the stream. Apparently, since then, things have changed. Last time I switched from, because I'm streaming now rather than like being live on YouTube. So last time I forgot to include an audio um, signal so you could hear me. This time I remember the audio, and but it's like it's different than it was before. So I just gotta hope I don't know what happened. It says we're excellent now, girl. I just gotta hope that you can still hear me. I'm glad I'm not time stamping because the time is like all kinds of messed up now. But you know what? That's fine. Can I hear myself? All kinds of messed up now. Yep, good enough. Hopefully, it's not a whole bunch of feedback. So, anyway, this is. They have done like a lot of integration between OBS and YouTube now. Like through OBS, I can see my YouTube chat, and I can just link it to my channel rather than using the stream key. Anyway, yeah. So it's one of those like on the side of where the logic and the intuition, like where intuition wasn't being included in that logical conversation, right? Like maybe this is something that's like really hot right now, and because of that we may think, but intuitively I feel like this could go either way. Either this could be the Blu-ray thing that takes the world by storm, or it could be the, was it Betamax or something like that thing that like mega flopped. That's this tower in the world, but that's all major arcana. On the other side, which is also major arcana, it's the Emperor and the Moon. And the Emperor and the Moon just, it reads like we're not, it reads like being asked to make a choice or decision, but not being given all the information. And it's interesting because I'm watching a new show, and the magician is after this moon, and there's this big old moon on the magician, or it's Earth. And the Hierophant. What is up with this string of majors? Hello? Anyway, I'm watching this new show, and this guy was a chancellor, and the chancellor justice just came out of the SKT. And I forget that the chancellor is an advisor. And he was like, whoa, like you were really high in court. You're like the king's advisor. Anyway, it's like, again, the Emperor and the Moon, it's like being asked to take charge or make a choice or decision where we don't have all the information. And it just kind of sort of, I would almost say it just kind of sort of is what it is, but also at the same time, I don't know if I've necessarily seen anything that says that a choice or decision has to be made like right now. Like there's nothing, cuz so it was the Emperor, the Moon, the Magician, and the Hierophant. Like the Magician and the Hierophant, something about that gives like the Emperor has chancellors and people that they can consult. But it's important to include some kind of intuitive whatever in that conversation. Because if not, because it's like the Emperor already sees how things are progressing. So if it's all logical, it's like include the intuitive. If it's all intuitive, include the logical. All right, still looking for that Queen of Swords, by the way. BT Dubs. There's the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of and the Queen of Swords. Okay, so the Queen of Cups is all on her lonesome. And look, there's the Wheel of Fortune again after the Star. The Star and the Wheel of Fortune. The Three of Wands, the Star and the Wheel of Fortune. The Star and the Wheel of Fortune is an interesting combination because it almost gives, like, if the shooting star is a shooting star, there is this cosmic thing, this larger cosmic thing that is happening that creates a moment of opportunity or that completely changes the game. And that could be the thing with like the Betamax versus Blu-ray, right? Where it's like, let's say that things were progressing in the way of Betamax, but there was a studio or a movie or something that happened and it was exclusively released to Blu-ray. And so because it was exclusively released to Blu-ray and a lot of people were interested, that's what like gave Blu-ray the edge over Betamax or whatever. It's like this thing that happens beyond the periphery that causes a wave that reaches sort of the self. And again, if it's a sturdy tower, then it will be one of the few left standing. And if it's not, it will be one of the many that fall into ruin. But no one has knowledge of that. And even last time, because that's, oh, the star, lol, the star. Last time it was the star. Or last time there was some time ago, not literally the last time, but there was a time that came to mind where this whole conversation came up. I used the good tarot, and the butterfly was on the Queen of Earth, and the Queen of Air had the owl. And usually the Queen of Swords has the butterfly, but in that it was an owl. And the DC was set at like 17 or something like high. And it's like, how are we, like, if this is a matter of like either intuition or intellection, intelligence, that's a really high DC to be able to perceive. Like, that's a really high threshold. 17 out of 20 to be able to properly perceive whatever. And so I'm just like, well, how are we even supposed to have a chance? And then it was like, oh, duh, like intuition. Our intuition is the thing that sort of like levels the playing field or gives us an advantage. But even when you have an advantage, it's not necessarily guaranteed, right? It's an advantage, not a sure thing type of energy. Or like, yeah, it's an advantage, not a guarantee. And so like now the star is here again. So I was like, oh, lol. Anyway, so it's the star, the Wheel of Fortune, and then the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. That page that we haven't seen. The Page of Wands, I'm pretty sure it was like right behind that Page of Cups, or not too far behind the Page of Cups. It's just like, it's really interesting to me that three of these queens came out together. And the Queen of Cups is on her own. I'm not surprised because, as the intuitive queen, like her intuition is gonna inform her of things that, again, like the star that comes in and completely changes the whatever, the game, the star and the Wheel of Fortune. Like the Queen of Cups' intuition would let her know, could let her know, hey, something is happening, something is gonna come that is gonna shake up everything. So don't make a move right now. Or you can make moves right now, but be prepared to pivot type energy. And everyone else is doing whatever, and then the thing happens, right? We'll just leave it. I was gonna make a comment, but it's like, I'm no one's discernment. Take it as it resonates and discern for yourself. Um, well, I say I'm no one's discernment, but it is my hope that my intuition, discernment, and ability to properly communicate whatever and be connected is sufficient enough to not lead anyone astray. But again, a lot of it comes down to interpretation, right? If someone says, like, what must happen, or like, what is going to happen is like what's meant to happen will happen, right? If someone says like what's meant to happen will happen, and we think because of our desire again that the outcome that we want is what's meant to happen, so we may think like, oh, it's gonna happen, but then when it doesn't happen, it's like, well, it wasn't meant to, right? For whatever reason. Oh, look, there's the Knight of Pentacles after. Am I taking all these queens? Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna take them all, but the queen that's left on the outside is the Queen of Wands. Flanking the Queen of Swords is the Page of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. So again, I feel like that plays into the whole on the side of logic. There's this Page of Pentacles energy that we see going the distance. We see this page to Queen energy. Or logically, that's what sort of makes sense. But again, there's this Star and Wheel of Fortune energy. There was the Tower with the World. Yeah, I'll put the Queen of Wands back. Cool. The one thing is, I don't know if this tells me. Yeah, it does. I got 122 dropped frames. It's like 0.6%. So. Like I said before, beyond non-existent, girl. She's non-existent, barely existent. I know a few names, and I have a few associations in my brain. Like I said, from conversations that were had years ago, and like the not even amount of research. So this world card, which also means I'm probably gonna butcher names. And like satisfactory outcome of a cycle, success, completion, full self awareness, good representation. So this brings full self awareness in like where the Wheel of Fortune brought an understanding of one's destiny, comprehension of destiny. It's not even one's destiny, comprehension of destiny in general. Comprehension of destiny is an interesting wrench. It is, but it isn't. It is in terms of like no matter what choice someone makes, if someone has a comprehension of destiny, it's like the outcome will be the same no matter what choice, right? The what must happen will happen, or what needs to happen will happen. But it's like if we fully comprehended destiny, then we would understand the cases in which destiny is rewritten or unwritten. Not only like we would see destiny as more than just this unavoidable thing. And a lot of times destiny is as overbearing as it is because we have our patterns, conditions, and processes, and other people have their patterns, conditions, and processes, and the world is this sort of sum total of dominant patterns, processes, and stuff. That shooting, like the star with the wheel, it's almost this like now it's almost reading as this wild card moment. It's very like we have free will. So at any point in time, we can make any choice or decision. We can defy our own patterns and programming and conditioning to make the unexpected choice. And then you could say, well, wouldn't that just be destined? I didn't say I have a full comprehension of this. I'm just looking at the cards and I'm reading the books. Full self awareness. This is Oduduwa, who took over from his brother Obatala the task of completing the creation by Olorun. I'm pretty sure Olorun was in my mind earlier. I think like before Shango popped into my mind. Or no, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a person or if it's a thing. Olodumare? Olodumare. Meaning. Olodumare is a gracious creator. The one who brings everything into existence is beyond categorization. Boundlessness generates the bountiful universe. Olodumare bears some similarities with Hashem of Judaism, God of Christianity, and Allah of Islam. Ooh, girl, so like, is Olodumare the one that like created the everything, everything, everything? Like, if you go all the way up, I mean, I guess if it's like God, then yeah. And this is the thing too. This is why I like having actual like resources, because some like the internet is good for some things, and the internet is also can be the regurgitation of the regurgitation of the regurgitation of the regurgitation of something else. Yeah. Okay. So that's Olodumare. I mean, I guess if we're talking comprehension of destiny, in terms of like, if we were to really fully comprehend destiny, we would understand the circumstances in which it has no jurisdiction. We would understand the circumstances that exist outside of destiny's jurisdiction because we were created with free will. So if our will is truly free, then there must be some kind of stipulations on destiny. Otherwise, it's all destiny and our will isn't really ours. What is this going to tell me about Shango? What is Google going to tell me about Shango? I know Shango is a warrior, one of the warriors. Ooh, associated with justice. Okay, maybe that makes sense. Yeah, through the association with justice that often depicted with a double-headed axe. His primary symbol. The seven of we've been seeing the seven of cups literally in every single deck. The seven of cups in the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelations Edition has the double sided axe in that, but in that deck it's the axe of Shiva. But it is a double sided axe with the mirror that helps us clearly. The axe of Shiva removes corruption. It's the corruptor. It would remove the corrupt. And again, that's what all of this is about. So Shango associated with justice, boom, makes sense. I talked about the Chancellor. The Chancellor is justice in that same deck, and the Chancellor is an advisor to the King or the Emperor. Cool. Am I still gonna get one of these? Sure, because I feel like I haven't. Yeah. So everything. This is low key. This is one of the things too about like reading is for me. I try to be cognizant of the fact that like like, are the cards that come out clarifying what I already like intuited, felt, and said, or is it like confirmation bias leading me towards a certain interpretation? I like to think that I am humble, question mark, or open enough that if it's like not what I was saying or not what I was thinking or not how I was interpreting it or not how I personally feel it, then I can still like clock it and be like, okay, like this is different than what I was saying, thinking, or feeling. But you know, I'm human. We all make mistakes. Who knows? But yeah, with all of this, like this is why it's the marriage of intuition and intelligence, intellect. But if you like, but that was the sun, or not the sun. That was the world. Full self recognition, right? Full self awareness is the world. So just like the quantum you that came out, I mean that was a self read, but just like when the quantum you that was like the final card. Just like when quantum you came out, it was like the whole picture. And even before that, it was the whole because we've seen the archangel commander, and when it comes to like aspects of the divine that can teach us or lead us or help us be more divine, like those aspects are also like spirit. They're not incarnate in physical bodies. So it's not that there's an aspect of the experience that they can't speak to, which like is why Jesus came, right? Because he was like, okay, like the teachings are one thing, but living life and being a human on earth is something different. And that's where you get even that whole like bodhisattvic Sandalphon Metatron sort of energy, the Elijah Enoch energy of those who ascended and became more. It's like that kind of energy would, you would assume, be better able to speak to being divine, but also being dual natured, physical and like flesh and blood and soul and spirit. And there's something in that in between that was different. This encourages the marriage of those different parts for a more fully realized self. To go all in on the intuitive but reject the intellectual is to divide oneself and vice versa. Cool. Anti-ways. Oh, still at the top of the deck. There it is. But again, the thing of spirit, the thing of the spiritual, is that it connects us to and anchors us to our divinity in a world that can be so far removed from it. So it's not, it's, right. That's why Hierophants have jobs. Or that's the purpose and role of Hierophantic energy, to help connect us beyond. And then I guess we got the Three of Cups and the Queen of Wands. I've seen the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Cups in this deck. All these queens, no kings. Um, oh, and they're dressed similarly. The colors are similar. Interesting. I've had this deck for a while now. Just, I guess this is the debut today. I mean, Black History Month is. It's so. I feel like I was in London in like UK Black History Month. So that was unexpected. And I think it was November, or was that October? Because I went up to the Sky Garden and I got one of those short stories, and they were like, it was like, you know, they're not African American because they're not American. You know, they were like black stories because it was Black History Month or something over there. It was interesting because I was like, wait, that's in February. Um, yeah, that's coming up next month. All right. What what is the? I mean, I feel like what I needed to see. I don't know if what I needed to see I've seen, because I feel like that thread has played out, right? Um, and I feel like there's an energy here. Even when like in the beginning, when it's like, is there a way to connect the one shot to the main campaign? It's like the thing about it being the one shot, the thing about it being the beach episode, the thing about it being filler is it has no connection. And sort of in the vein of like under our comprehension of destiny, in the vein of like Oludumare, in the vein of like these things that transcend so highly or so much, like the degree of transcendence is so severe that it is like completely disconnected from the human experience, but the reverberations of it are felt type energy. And it's just like, it's like, how would we think to ask what is so far outside of our experience? It's almost like obviously in high priestess energy, where it's like, if you were to ask about orange apples or purple apples, if you were to ask about colors of apples that don't exist naturally on planet Earth, you would get an answer that on this planet, apples are naturally that color, right? And it's like, okay, on some planet in the entirety of the universe, in the entirety of the multiverse, if there are multiple universes, on an alternate Earth where things went a different way, apples were purple and orange instead of red and green. And it's like, but then it's like one day, Appleseed rides a comet that is this meteorite question mark that strikes Earth, and now there's purple and orange apples that are completely different than the red and green. They look the same, but trust something about them is different. Because on the planet they come from, it's all this blah 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 whatever, and then it's like, whoa. Okay, let's ground it a little bit. Because again, or maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just that like apples evolve purple and orange color because the environment on that planet in that world is different in this way that is very significant to our own. But if we had the knowledge that purple and orange apples could grow, it's like we would know that things can grow under these conditions that don't exist naturally here. And if we knew that, then it's like if things were to shift, like the tower and the world, if things were to shift dramatically and drastically, we would know that there is something that can still grow in those conditions, rather than the belief that we hold that nothing can grow in those conditions because as it exists naturally here, that nothing does, right? And that's the whole, like, how do we benefit from the one shot, blah, blah. Or but again, it's like it has a feeling of information, knowledge that would be readily available if we asked for it, but we would have no reason to ask because it's so far disconnected and so far removed from our own experience and experiences and what we desire to experience. It's like these completely different, whatever, type energy. Right. I'm a Pisces with my Mercury in Pisces and the 12th house of Pisces. So my brain operates in metaphor. And through metaphor, I get to, I mean, anyway. Ooh, girl. The Ten of Swords in the world. Okay. All right. Final, not a final card. I mean, there it is. I was going to ask if there's anything else. Oh, this is so interesting. This is the, so the Ace of Swords came out leading the pack of three cards. The Ace of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. When I was talking about the High Priestess, like this is the realm of the High Priestess. What's the most interesting about this Ace of Swords, which I feel like sort of fits the, and again, is it confirmation bias or is this confirmation? Take it if it resonates as it resonates, and if it don't resonate, don't take it. This Ace of Swords is being forged. This Ace of Swords is being created, which is extremely interesting to me. So, like, everything that the Ace of Swords symbolizes in terms of, like, the truth, or in terms of, like, a new idea, a new truth, it's one that's being created. Not only is this Ace of Swords being created, there's a broken sword at the feet of the High Priestess. See that? The broken sword at her feet. The forging of a new one. So I don't know, again, because we did see the Emperor and the Moon on one side, and then the world and the tower. The tower and the world on one side, with the Emperor and the Moon on the other side. I don't know if this is something that happens that completely shakes our foundation. And so now we have to build from scratch our understanding of how the world works. Or if it's going to be tested by the Ace of Swords. This reminds me of something that my mom says. And I feel like she says it's in the Bible. She doesn't say it often, but I feel like she said it recently. There's something about, like, something along the lines of, if it doesn't seem right or sit right with you, or something along those lines, if you take it to the God or the divine, like, the divine will validate or invalidate. It's something about how, like, the word proves itself, or it's something along those lines. So it's like, as this Ace of Swords is being forged and created, you can take it before the High Priestess, And if it's no good, it will snap, it will break, it will not stand. It's like not because I won't say that like she never confirms, only denies, because that would be a very broad statement to make from this singular perspective. Um, like saying that she will deny does not mean that she won't confirm just because we see a broken sword. Is that my number one fan? I thought I heard footsteps in the hallway. It could have been Chino. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups. This is the most Sagittarius. Why? Because he's holding a bow. I was gonna say this is the most Sagittarius Eight of Cups, and then the Nine of Cups is behind the Eight of Cups. This is the bottom of the deck, and it's like the guy that's like standing Sagittarius holding the bow. Everyone else is like not necessarily feeling dejected. Some in contemplation, some listening and wonder and bewilderment. Some maybe a little angry. This does make me think, and the Page of Swords is the first card that we saw. Even though it may be the Page, I think it is the Page of Swords. The deck dungeon challenge of the Page of Swords that came out not too long ago, but also not necessarily recently. Um, it was about the new word. There's almost this, because I'm thinking of like Olodumare again, and the separation, the degrees of transcendence that have. It's almost like the world has gotten smaller and smaller over time. So there could be things that were known, or at the very least, things that weren't so far fetched or so outlandish that they never like came up, or that they were completely seen as, designated as so completely far removed to be of less than in consequence. Right. That at some point in time, questions that would have been asked, things that would have been known. Yeah, it was just like the world's gotten like smaller and smaller and smaller. Like it's pulled away from whatever more and more over time. This like forging the Ace of Swords again is just so challenge- challenging to me. I meant to say interesting. Ogun, the blacksmith god, custodian of oaths, triumph, power, conquest, exaltation of strength. Custodian and custodian of oaths is interesting, especially with the. Let's see, what's the high priestess? The priestess, high priestess. Reason, language. Minona, the divining sorcerer goddess. Wisdom, intuition, empathy, and receptiveness, the feminine cosmic principle. Guide of dreams. That last one always gets me. Because didn't something mention dreams? It was the Seven of Cups. Three of Wands, Ten of Wands, the World, Pentacles. Here we go. Swords. Okay, I've seen Wands, Swords, and Pentacles. Where are the Cups? Here we go. I'm pretty sure it was the Seven of Cups. The crow rests as she dreams of all the things she wants. Some of her dreams lead to love and victory, others may result in loss or deception. Because she has created so many choices, she is finding it hard to commit to a decision, and as a result, she is stuck in place. The crow rests as she dreams of all the things she wants, and then the guide of dreams is the high priestess. And that was like one of the lowest hanging fruits is it could be something that happens in a dream that seems or that is completely separate from our waking lives, but then one day something happens and it's like, oh, well, in that case you would call the dream prophetic, right? More often than not. But it maybe the dream isn't prophetic in the sense of what it like a series of events that it accurately what's that word shows before it happens. Maybe it's prophetic more so in the sense of like the conclusion that you reach within a dream or something that you get within a dream or something that happens within a dream helps in a different situation. So it's not a play for play, thing for thing kind of prophetic. It's prophetic in what it prepares you for, or prophetic in some other way besides like event for event sort of thing. Guide of Dreams. The Knight of Pentacles is. Oh, we done gotten into the Italian. Swords. Pentacles. Word of Pentacles. Chalices. Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is Domfe, Rain God. It's a rain god. Generous mentor, teacher, responsible, professional help, professional skill, and uprightness. There are people in this deck. It's interesting that we've gotten all like gods and goddesses. Oh, yeah, goddess, because there's the sorcerer goddess. There's Ogun, Domfe, a rain god, and the sorcerer goddess. Girl, I already forgot her name. Minona, the divining sorcerer goddess. It's interesting that the Knight of Pentacles is associated to a rain god. I mean, in the depiction, like there are seeds that are being thrown from the back of the elephant, so it's like rains nourish, right? It's like we would see it as planting seeds, but without rain, those seeds aren't nourished. So again, maybe that's like that energy of something that's prophetic, not in the unfolding of events that it predicts, but prophetic in a more metaphorical way. Right. Because when it rains a lot, things grow, typically, or they get washed out. But when it rains a lot, things grow. So that's similar. Like there's a metaphoric, you could say, similarity to the overgrowth resulting from abundant rains, and sowing a lot of seeds. Anyway, this is still, because this is Ogun, this, I mean, aces already have like a more major, aces can have a more major than minor energy anyway. But Ogun is like forging the sword. This isn't like a person behind the forge. I don't know, I feel like this just almost opened up a whole nother can of worms. Not can of worms, just like, oh, what about the Eight of Chalices? Now, the Eight of Chalices is going to not be. Excuse me. Oh, never mind. I take it back. Even the Eight of Chalices is another god. All of these aren't gods, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, here's the friendship of the orphan and the lion. Yeah, this one's a hero. Okay. Not all of them are. Torre? Or, like I said, I'm probably going to butcher all of them. The pygmy god of hunting and initiation rites. And also Malcolm X. Maturity, correct assessment, concreteness, growth, renunciation, sorry, and sacrifice. Pygmy god of hunting and initiation rites. That initiation, of course, the initiation rites is interesting. So that's Malcolm X up there. But I guess I'm assuming this is Torre because not only is he holding the bow, but hunting and initiation rites. Is this? I mean, I guess you could say that that is the initiation. To forge the sword. A sword that can withstand the scrutiny of the high priestess. I feel like this Knight of Pentacles makes a whole bunch of sense, but I just keep like reading around it. Like, I mean, I guess the elephant is also giving Lord Ganesh. I can pull one of those because why not? And the thing about Lord Ganesh is his association with boundaries, both to overcome boundaries and to create boundaries, to overcome the insurmountable and to place the impossible. And this the sword that is forged is again, it's like closer and closer and closer to that place of transcendence. I almost hesitate kind of to say but it again, it's just like, you know. Sure, let's go for it. Is it here? I feel like it's in the second drawer, but I'm gonna open the third. It's not in the third drawer. I should have just opened the second drawer. Of course it's right here. What was I thinking? I knew it was in here. Again, all this because the crows were out? Well, if the hot tea is that somebody somewhere has forged a sword that stands up to the discerning eye of the high priestess, then I would say that's news for the crows to be chit chatting about, right? Like, oh my gosh, girl, anything could happen. Anything could happen. And again, it's a new Ace of Swords. So it could be that moment of, like, let's say that there's a breakthrough in whatever way. Is it going to catch on? Or is it going to be business as usual? Is it so disruptive that certain individuals or organizations want to protect their interests? Or is it going to be like this new thing? Because again, it's like destiny isn't immutable. It is, but it isn't. It's like it is as immutable as it is. It's almost like it's because of who and how. It's more than it's just because of like who and how we are. But again, it's like there are cases that exist outside Destiny's jurisdiction or beyond Destiny's jurisdiction. So I'm gonna get one of these and then I'm gonna end these. Ooh, okay. Two cards came out. Bottom of the deck is blessings. And hey, if there's a sword that passes the high priestess test, then this new initiation, I'm assuming it comes with some kind of blessings. It's number 44. I almost want to read. I don't know if the book mentions this. There's like a divine gift. And open to acceptance, acceptance. Well, just because someone's blessed, like a blessing, almost like something that's given. Like I give you my blessing, or this like represents a blessing, but it's like it still has to be accepted. Typically, it just is, but it can not be. It can be refused or go unacknowledged. Ganesha asks you to consider what exactly is it that you want at this time. He asserts that your desires are within your reach. The universe is conspiring to help you achieve your aspirations. Since the universe is in harmony with your desires, the how will transpire effortlessly. Ganesha is bestowing on you blessings of luck, love, and new prospects. Be very clear about your intentions at this time. Once you have identified what you desire, Ganesha will work to clear the obstacles and amp up your blessings. Withstand the temptation to succumb to self-indulgence. You are in excellent affluence. You are in an excellent affluence phase. This period will not last forever, so be sure to take advantage of it and act when opportunities arise. Resolve will triumph. The principle of averages works in your favor now. The more that you perpetuate something that you want, the more likely you are to receive that very thing, even if it feels impossible. These manifestation possibilities are endless and range in subject matter from love to money to success to happiness. Ganesha teaches that your blessings are continuous. The realization of the blessing may not be immediately apparent. Trust that happiness and blessings are always being showered on you. What is going on in your life at this moment is external and beyond your control. That was the whole thing. What is beyond our control? I never did look at what was within it, and this took a whole ride. True happiness and blessings lie within you, in your heart and soul. The thing that sticks out to me is Ganesha asks you to consider what exactly it is you want at this time. He asserts that your desires are within your reach. The universe is in harmony with your desires. The how will transpire effortlessly, because that was the thing about the Seven of Cups as well. And the High Priestess was the guide of dreams. Maybe that's why she's snapping these aces of swords. Because it's almost very like, let's say we are in that period and the divine is moving. Things are transpiring in the way of destiny and outside of destiny. In the way of destiny, things are transpiring in a way that play out. It's like our desire is already being within the scope of destiny. Our desire is already being fulfilled. We may not even necessarily know that it's something that we want yet. But within the scope of destiny, we will know that it is what we desire, and it will come into like our paths will meet crossroads. We'll meet at the crossroads with our desires, and we'll have that knowing, right? The like these things are happening simultaneously is like the destiny of it. Outside of the scope of destiny is beyond the scope of this reading. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We have healing with the peacock with the Moor. Number 36 is healing, which is a 9. And then belonging, 41. 443641. 444136. Not necessarily the two. The thing, like blessings, yes. These two, not necessarily what I would have thought would come out. But hey, let's see. Let's dig into it. 36, healing. The true essence of your soul is one of complete health. She's giving the true essence of your soul energy, especially with the world that was full self awareness. There's actually a card in the Diceology. Ganesha is pictured sitting on a peacock. Peacock feathers have been used in curative remedies for thousands of years and across countless traditional cultures. They are said to carry spiritual medicinal energy that can assist people seeking balance and healing in their lives. The challenges of daily life can throw you out of balance with the truth of your being. It is easy to get caught up in the daily grind and in a general feeling of lack. Remember that you were created from the perfection of divine light and love. Your physical body is simply a shell that covers your soul. True healing is only possible when you take responsibility for your own well being on this earth and your self empowerment. See yourself as complete. It was, what, full self awareness. Cool. Well, sure. See yourself as complete, healthy, and whole. Ganesha prompts you to believe that you truly are capable of handling any matters of health or relationships without blame and with integrity and grace. And then belonging. Learn to find security from within. In this card, Ganesha uses the mouse as his vehicle, which signifies his triumph over the ego. In Hindu mythology, the mouse symbolizes the ego, for the ego can eat away at all that is good and decent in a person. Belonging seeks to solve the predicament of the ego's own perceived separation. Since the ego has no conscious memory of its connection to others and to Source, you experience a need to get out of seclusion by bonding with the people around you. These people can be your family, peer groups, or your community. The ego is neither good nor bad, but simply a necessary part of you in this existence. The ego can manifest inclinations that are either more positive or more negative in nature. There are many positive aspects to belonging. You develop your ability to love, connect, bond, share, and care for others. You see yourself more clearly through the mirror of relationship. It is important in belonging that you not try to seek approval through others. Through this card, Ganesha is here to help you focus on the positive feelings from being a part of a community. Learn to trust, ask for help, and to rely on others. That's the ego. The ego is neither good nor bad, but simply a necessary part of you in this existence. And again, with healing, it was that seeing yourself as complete. Again, with the world, the full self awareness. Lastly, but never leastly, I am going to get one of these. Should I pull before and after the card? No. I'm not going to do that. Well, because I don't even know. Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I think it's one of the jacks. It's like the beginnings of self realization. But it's like before we can realize the self, we must be aware of the self. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because realization can imply intentionality, right? Like if you realize like a dream or if you have a realization, it's one that was like intended to be had. It doesn't sort of like just happen. If it does just happen, then we have to realize how this is connected to this other thing. All right. These ain't even final cards. I mean, that'll be it for this. I won't get a final. Well, we'll see. Diceology. I don't know. Sometimes I feel a little. I have a healthy ego. Some would say too healthy. So, in some other instances, some would say malnourished. There was a lot of that last year. Not like a lot, but enough. There was enough. But I don't know. Sometimes, like, pulling out something that I've created, especially like when I'm this far in, it's like, oh, girl, you really think highly of yourself, don't you? And it's like, yes, I do. Because I know. And other times, sometimes I forget. There you go. All right. Interesting. Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Diamonds at the bottom. Chain links, a divine codex, an arrow that pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. And then there's our hunter with his bow held skyward. And this Ace of Swords that's being forged. The Ace of Swords being accepted by the High Priestess. It's interesting how I wrote this. I feel like I always read it as an arrow that pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. But it's written as an arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. Like it's happening. Rather than like, here is an arrow that is capable of doing this. An arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. A divine codex, chain links, cool. We have a displacement replaced, unintended and unforeseen consequences, a need for wisdom. LOL. The Two of Spades, a need for wisdom. Also, an accurate depiction, a true to life tale, liquid light that carves its way through night. There are typos on some of the cards. I didn't catch them before they printed, obviously, but then after I was like, yeah, I don't. I know what it's supposed to say. It says carbs, but it was supposed to be carbs. It's funny that it says carbs though, and like an accurate depiction. I've been seeing this thing on Facebook that's like someone may have been like talking to Trevor Noah or something, went on Trevor Noah's podcast or something like that, and said that if you want fiber, you have to eat carbs. And people were like, oh, that's misinformation and blah, blah, blah. Like, what about fruits and vegetables? And she's like, fruits and vegetables are carbs. Like, those are carbohydrates. And scientifically, she is correct. Like, sugars are carbs, fiber, carbs. You have proteins, fats, and carbs. Most everything falls within the category of proteins, fats, and carbs. Fiber is just like fiber are carbohydrates in a form and an alignment that our bodies don't digest. And so since our bodies don't digest them, it just like it goes in and it comes out, and then of course you can use it to like be regular because your body can't break it down. Now if you have something in your gut, maybe there are some like your microflora, maybe something in your microflora flora can partially break it down, and that may be like some people. But yeah, fiber and like what is it in animals? Because in plants they're straight chains that our body can't break down. But in animals, like in animal meat, they're branched. So it's like basically your enzymes can just get in there and like snap it, snap this, snap that, break it down. But yeah, she had to tell people that like fiber is a carbohydrate. That's why if you look at a nutritional label under total carbohydrates, you'll see like dietary fiber. So that's just an interesting little whatever. An accurate depiction, a true to life tale, liquid light that carves its way through night. Liquid light that carves its way through night is interesting when we have an arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds on the other side. A displacement replaced. This almost reads as unintended and unforeseen consequences. She isn't giving Eve, but she's sort of giving like the original sin. An original sin. A sin that was the origin point of the lack of something. In the case of, you know, Judeo question mark Christianity, period. Like that's why we're not in Eden because of Eve and Adam. No relation to Everlong Mystic, of course. I mean, I guess technically Eve would be the mother of us all. So not only related to Everlong Mystic. It's like there was something done that wasn't intended or foreseen, but that caused the displacement. It caused something to depart. Maybe those degrees of transcendence to increase. And it's so interesting because, again, with that blessings, and even with the energy like that, because of blessings, where the high priestess was like, make sure that, like, Like, is this really what you want? Is this really what, like that fine tuning, right? Because let's say again that what we want is to feel respected or to feel like our voice matters, right? So let's say that there are things that we seek. We seek the path of a guru, of a manager, of a boss, of whatever. We seek the path of one with an audience. But we seek those things because we want to feel respected. There are managers, there are gurus, there are mentors, there are people with audiences that are not respected. And if we're doing something to get respect, like that's the truth. That's like a true motivation that lies at the root of several intentions. But beyond that, I don't, there's, because again, it's like this thing that's unintended and unforeseen. So, like, let's say, for example, there's someone who like really wants some respect for whatever reason. And so, but let's say there's someone who wants respect, but that also has some pretty self destructive trauma responses when they feel disrespected. So they seek a high position, and by happenstance and circumstance, they get in a high position, but they're still not respected. And then let's say that something happens. Now they do the self destructive thing, but because their position is a lot higher and their scope is a lot wider, it doesn't only destroy themselves, it also it amplifies the amount of damage. That's what becomes unforeseen. Well, that's the thing that is unintended, and to them it would be unforeseen. But if they had the self awareness and the knowledge of the ego and knew the truth of their motivations and intentions, like you, they would be able to see it. It's almost, it could be one of those things that like other people can see, but to us it's like it's so unforeseen. It's like, but this is your pattern. What do you mean it's like this is literally your pattern? You don't feel respected or whatever, so you go and do something crazy drastic. The only difference is like now you're in, like your choices and decision affect and impact more than just you. And hopefully it's not legal and all this other stuff type energy. But anyway, with that Ace of Swords, with the new Ace of Swords, with the power to see beyond, with that accurate depiction, you can avoid the unforeseen and better steer clear of the unintended when we are aware of our motivations, desires, and intentions. When we're aware of our desires and motivations, we can be more aware of our intentions, right? Because we say that, like, oh, I didn't intend for this to happen and I didn't intend for that to happen, but the things that motivate us drove us to that. And then our patterns cause us to behave in certain ways. And again, that's not, it's like that falls, you could say that falls within the purview of destiny, but that's like the destiny that we've created. That's more like a human based destiny. Human based destiny being like that's your pattern. Like this is your true motivation, this is your pattern. So because you are who you are and how you are, this was destined to happen. You feel disrespected or you can't tolerate criticism, you fly off the handle and do something self destructive. You work really hard to be promoted really high within this company. The company is destined to suffer because you're destined to be challenged at some point because that's the role. You're destined to do the self destructive thing, and that's why the company suffers and all this. Like, but that's not destiny. You could say that's a lack of self awareness in however many words. It would be an oversimplification to say it's a lack of self awareness, but it also kind of like sums it up pretty nicely. And again, in that case, it's not destiny because you got high priestess here and you got these blessings from the divine here to help you work through and to be aware of like, oh, like I have this need to feel respected because blah 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 blah. We ain't got to go there. Three of Swords, whatever. And because of that, I'm moving this way, and like all of these other things. Right? It's like it's almost like there's all of these. There's like all of this information here. There are all of these resources to help us, but there are also things that we just like remain blind to until we're ready to see. But it was destined. Like again, like it's destined to happen, not because of destiny, but because of patterns. Our destiny could actually be to be great, but our patterns and our lack of self awareness keep us from that. Or maybe like our greatness will be known as a colossal failure rather than being known as this like pioneer. It's like destined for a stage, destined for whatever, but how we show up is still within our control. Type energy. Anyway. But again, we have liquid light that carves its way through night. That is the light of awareness, carving through, illuminating those darkened skies, right? The stars and the moon and the shooting stars, the shooting star, or the star in the Wheel of Fortune, in the space of the dark night that bring that illumination. We have the arrow that pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. Also, again, that need for wisdom is here. But ultimately, it reads like, with the way the cards came out and how the progression of this video and the vibe is, it can resonate however. But it reads like all of that illumination and reflection has happened. Someone is now more aware of these things, and that's why the displacement is being replaced. The thing that was lost in this unintended, unforeseen circumstance, that it reads like punishment, but calling it punishment has such an interesting flavor because it feels accurate in terms of like, if you do this then this other thing will happen, and it's not a great thing, so it will feel like a punishment, but it's not. It's like cause and effect. It's just like the natural outcome. It's not a punish, like it's not, but it is, but it isn't, right? If someone's like, hey, if you do this then that's going to happen, not threatening, just like telling you, hey, if you stick your finger in the door, in the frame, and you slam the door as hard as you can, it's gonna hurt. Your throbbing finger isn't a punishment. It's just like that. It just happens, right? It's not like someone sitting somewhere and it's like, oh, now your finger is going to hurt because you did this. It's like, no, girl, it's just it just happens. You know what I mean? And so it's like something just happened. And so it is almost like there's something. Can you inherit karma? Kirsty! Hey, how you doing? How art thou? I hope to see you soon, although I, as of yet, have no plans. But anything could happen. Unexpected, but definitely intended. Yeah, it is almost like this a vibe of like an inheritance of karma because, and maybe that's how like it gets so far removed because it's like something that one person did that changed things for multiple people, right? Like, let's say, for instance, someone is supposed to go to Disney and have this life changing experience and become somebody. Um, but because a parent mismanaged money or made some kind of choice, the Disney trip is canceled. Again, sort of like what someone is destined for, but how it may not necessarily play out. And it's not that they won't work their way back around, but it's like now they have to because that trip didn't happen. And it's almost like if there is an if there is an orbital cloud around us of the things that are destined for us and meant for us that keep trying to find like entry points, right? It's like if two people are supposed to meet, and let's say they were supposed to meet when they were 5 at Disney, but one person didn't go to Disney, and then they were supposed to meet when they were 7, but the other person got sick, and then like there was this move that was going to happen with the job, but that didn't happen, and then there's university, but university didn't happen, and like all of these, like again that like that meeting, that connection is orbiting, they're orbiting each other, and there are all of these destined, there are all of these events through which that destined connection sort of like tries to occur through, but it just like doesn't. It's like miss after miss after miss after miss. And eventually, because everything always works out for the better for everyone, eventually they meet. And then they're like, yeah, like, oh, they're like, right, they're like doing whatever. And one person's like, oh, like, here's this photo album from when I went to Disney when I was 5. And they're like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to go to Disney this year. And they're like, yeah, well, blah, blah, blah. And then a few years later, my dad was gonna get this job, like he was in line for this promotion that would have took us to Kalamazoo, and like, oh my gosh, I was in Kalamazoo, and like it's all of these like we have been orbiting each other for all of our lives, and now, girl, Pisces and me. It's good to see you too. I'm glad that you're good. I know. I'm assuming you got your turkey, but I've been like, I wonder if Kirsty got the turkey. I wonder if Kirsty got the turkey. And of course, I guess I never texted you, but I've been operating under the assumption that you got the turkey and had a wonderful Christmas meal, and I could have just texted you, but I feel like I'm in this kind of sort of where I was when I was there. Just this whole like processing, whatever. Anyway, I did remember. I have been hoping that you got your turkey. Um, but that's the displacement replaced. It's like it's orbiting. So the heaven that pierces the arrow that pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds, with that imagery, I feel like this is where it gets kind of gray. I mean, the whole thing is gray. But it's like someone creates the opening. But again, that's the power of our free will. I hope I'm still, this says I'm still live. An hour and 26? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you got it in. I'm sorry to hear you had to run so much, but I am glad that you got the turkey. Hey, maybe you had a fated encounter that I don't know while you were I don't know. You got the perfect turkey, and any of the other turkey you were destined to get that turkey. Oh gosh. Um, yeah, with the imagery of liquid light that carves its way through night feels like a channel that's being dug. Maybe it's both simultaneously. Because an arrow that pierces the heaven and breaks the clouds reads as like more impactful and sudden, and like someone utilizing the emperor and the moon, the emperor, the moon, the magician, and the hierophant. See, the hierophant is whispering to the magician, "Hey, that's the intuition." High priestess, guide of dreams. The magician is the one that does it, and the emperor is the one that makes the choice. The emperor with the moon like makes an impossible choice, but the intuition is whispering like, "Hey, pss, 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 pss." Um, yeah, but liquid light that carves its way through night, because in that scenario, both people arrive at the destination. So maybe on one hand, it's more of this like slow build up, and on the other hand, it's this, what did it say? Be prepared for sudden opportunities. Your blessings will increase when you um, when you get it get clear on your intentions and desires. The blessings will increase to meet you. Cool. And you could even flip this and say like it doesn't even have to be necessarily realizations, truths that we take the high priestess to be tried, that we take to the high priestess to be tried. Maybe it's the divine trying these different like avenues and routes to get us to realize something. And maybe some of the ways that it's happened we've been more or less resistant to, or we like just didn't get it. Right? They're like there's this complete disconnect. Cool. Also, we do have 129. The Ten of Hearts is under this Ace of Diamonds. Correcting what has been misused, stabilizing timelines, a stargate that leads to fantastic places. An arrow that pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds, and under that is a stargate that leads to fantastic places. Wait, why am I holding these up? Oh, 129. I don't have a calendar. So I don't know what's happening on the 29th. I know it's going to be Aquarius season. I don't even know what day the 29th is on. I don't even have my iPad. I'm like, is this my iPad? No, because it was just here. 129. That's 2 weeks from right now. Um, yeah, 12. I've been seeing 1221 a lot. I feel like lately, Let's ask Google because why not? Hey Google, what is the spiritual significance of angel number 1221?
Angel number 1221 signifies balance, new beginnings, and personal growth. It encourages you to maintain a positive mindset while pursuing your life's purpose and trusting your intuition. Key meanings: balance and harmony. The symmetry of 1221 suggests a need to balance your spiritual pursuits with your physical reality. Positive transformation. It is a nudge from the universe to embrace upcoming changes with optimism and courage. Manifestation. The number suggests you have the power to create your own reality through focused thoughts and actions. Divine support. Seeing this sequence is a reminder that you are protected and guided by higher energies during transitions. Would you like me to look up what 1221 means specifically for relationships or career?
No, thank you. But that follow up question lets me know that enough people have been asking Gemini. That's the one thing I'll give Gemini this. I feel like by and large, for the most part, Gemini is really good at prompting follow up questions. Now, the information itself, hey girl, she's AI. She does her best. She scrubs the internet. Okay? And, you know. Anyway, interesting. It was just 1221 on the clock, which is why I was like, I've been seeing 1221 a lot lately. And 1222. I've been seeing 1221 and like 1222 a lot. Look, and then 21 came out, determination, as our final Whispers of Lord Ganesha card. Bottom of the deck is 25. Be candid. Be candid and determination. Ooh, girl. Ugh. Ugh. I feel like that triggers my Sagittarius North Node, low key. Sorry. There was like this realization I had earlier today that I was trying to recall, and I can't in this moment. But it was like it's personal, so it'll come to me later. 25, 21 determination. Excuse me. Feel secure in your being. Wow, feel secure in your being. This has to be root chakra. The dynamics of this lifetime can be complicated. There really does not exist in this earthly dimension an environment that is free of trauma, blockages, and lessons. The color red is the color of the first chakra, referred to as the root or base chakra. The root chakra is associated with keeping life exciting and sustainable. It is associated with trusting, belonging, and accepting. When you feel lost or insecure, you lose energy due to the fear these feelings bring up. When the root chakra energy is in balance, you are centered, grounded, healthy, and vibrant with unlimited physical energy. So that gives us healing with the healthy you are and the belonging with belonging. It is associated with trusting, belonging, and accepting. You love your body and love to use it and take care of it. You feel secure in your life and display good common sense. Work with Ganesha to create a sense of feeling rooted in order to lift away any heaviness you might be feeling. Focus your attention on the color red and allow yourself to feel joy, energy, and creativity coming back into your life. Red symbolizes love and happiness. It is said to encourage action and confidence and provides a sense of protection from fears and anxiety. Remain positive and open to possibilities. Doing this will strengthen the root chakra and create stability and inner strength. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, 25. Be candid. It is essential to express your truth even at the risk of standing out. The situation at hand is asking you to express your thoughts. In the past, you have tried to maintain peace by staying quiet or swallowing your words. Have faith that open and honest communication can bring resolution to the situation. If you are not sure where you stand, ask. Since this card is about communication, it may indicate someone's words have created a moment of clarity. Be willing to communicate your concerns clearly. Remember to be open to others' views or arguments. Let your emotions flow without trying to block them while looking at decisions and solutions. Ganesha prompts you to be wary of coming across as rough or uncaring when you communicate your concerns and ideas to others. Before you express yourself, take a deep breath and think of what you are going to say. Convey your thoughts in an understandable, brief, and well thought out manner. Teal represents the throat chakra, which represents both speaking and listening. The throat chakra is the gateway for the higher spiritual realms. When your throat chakra is activated and balanced, there is a diminished chance of miscommunication and misunderstandings. You are able to express yourself as a spiritual being. You are a good communicator, speaking honestly and from the heart, as well as being a good listener. You are able... 2 pages, 1 page, come on. You are able to ask for what you want and need from others. You are able to express yourself individually and creatively. Your relationships are based on truthful communication and true intimacy. This card invites you to create emotional balance and stability in your life. Both of these mention stability. Interesting. Cool, 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 cool. Hello? Oh. Hello? What gets put away next? Let's do the Diceology cards next. An incomplete set of instructions, a stubborn moth reborn as a firefly. A stubborn moth reborn as a firefly is such an interesting image after the whole orbiting. There's something orbiting, right? Trying to find. I feel like I've been on a plane one time, and I was looking at the time, and I was like, "Oh, like we flew in early. I'm not gonna have to rush to my connecting flight or whatever." And we were just like circling. Like we got there too early, and they didn't have a thing for us to land, a place for us to land, or a gate for us to disembark from, or whatever. And so we're just circling, and I was like, man, I thought I was gonna have all this extra time, but nope. I forget what that was. I don't think I had a for that one. I think I was just trying to get somewhere a little earlier, but I don't think I was in a rush. I've had a few flights I've had to rush for. I remember when I ran in an airport for the first time, and I'm just like, it was not it. It was not it. I mean, and then I had to end up doing it a second time. But hey, I'm 80. Anyway, alright, sorry, final card. I'm going to talk to my number one fan. I'm going to ask her opinion, her thoughts, her feelings. Is it confirmation or is it confirmation bias? In reverse, prophetic dreams, inspired action, tapping into the other side, with the displacement replaced unintended and unforeseen consequences, and a need for wisdom. An abrupt change of season, Queen of Diamonds. And the Queen of Pentacles is right next to the Queen of Swords. An abrupt change of season, the vision catching up to fantasy, the feeling of valleys and falling of mountains. Interesting. The feeling of valleys and falling of mountains, the vision catching up to fantasy after a displacement replaced. But there's the prophetic dreams, right? That sort of came up. The card that came out in reverse, the Six of Hearts. Maximizing or minimizing limitation or support. Look to the root. Look to the root. And the root chakra. Determination just came out. The thing about this card is it's like we will determine, we have a part in determining how things play out, basically. And so that, like, maximizing or minimizing limitation or support, it's like, I guess we have a part in how things play out. Look to the root is like within ourselves. Can we allow for something to grow? Or vice versa. Like, can we allow for it to sort of shrink and fade? Or for it to, can we allow for like a season to conclude? Can we allow for a season to begin? A lot of that, and this, when this card comes out, it's more within our control. We don't control what happens, but again, the thing with blessings, like, just because a blessing is bestowed doesn't mean that it is received or accepted. We still have to accept. It's a question of how much we can accept. But it was in reverse. So maybe with it being in reverse, back to the energy of that, like, be candid. Because when I wrote this, it was more about receiving. But less, with less emphasis on, like, our part in what we receive. Right? So it's basically, again, like with that, be candid, express, communicate. If we show up in a more candid and in a more candid way, I mean, can you be candid and not be in integrity and authenticity? Let me ask. Apparently, I'm talking to Gemini tonight. Hey Google, can you be candid and not be operating in authenticity?
I'll be direct and honest with you. I don't put on an act. I'm here to provide straightforward, useful insights without the corporate fluff. Would you like to dive into a specific topic
Girl.
or need my unfiltered?
I wasn't asking Gemini. I was just in general. Okay, let's try that again. Hey Google, in general, can a person be candid and not be authentic at the same time?
Yes, a person can be candid without being authentic. While both involve honesty, they operate on different levels. Candor is about the delivery, being frank, unreserved, or off the record in the moment. You can be candid about a lie, or candidly share a thought that doesn't actually align with your core values. Authenticity is about alignment, acting in accordance with your true self, long term beliefs, and inner character. For example, a person might candidly admit they are angry during a meeting, being open about a temporary impulse, even though that outburst is inauthentic to their deeper, more patient character. Would you like me to explore more examples of this?
I feel like I'm so shook right now. I am so shook right now. So, like she said, I guess candor is in the delivery. Okay. She said, "Yeah, girl. People can be candidly lie all the time. Hello." She like, "You must be new." But I'm like, what? Maybe I feel like I don't, because I feel like I don't even know if I would register it as candor if I were to do something and it not be. You know what I mean? Because for me, if I'm like if I'm having an outburst, that's the truth. If I've reached the point where I'm being candid in that regard, no lies, no lies. You know that saying, in wine, in wine and anger and in childhood there is always truth, or in wine and anger and in childhood there is truth. Girl. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get this one last actually. So let's come over here. But I can see it being used as like a manipulation tactic or whatever, or like being used to like rile somebody up, even though you don't actually whatever. I mean, I guess yeah. With that breakdown, okay, Google. I feel like there are people who like to like just get a reaction out of people, so they'll just like say or do whatever. So they will very candidly just say or do whatever to get a reaction, to have things go the way they want. I don't know. I guess I really just like. I guess that was the connotation I held. Hey, girl. You know. That kind of blows my mind a little bit. I'm like, whoa. Maybe if it ever happens, I'd be like, okay, like, is this something that you like actually feel? Like, are you being truthful and authentic right now, or are you just like being candid for the sake of like creating a moment? You know what I mean? Actually, yeah. I feel like the more I'm like, I see it, I see it, I see it. You know what I mean? Okay, that's I've seen enough. I've seen too much. Oh goodness, now I can't get it out of my head. It's fine. Yeah. I mean I am I can be a little gullible, you know, a little not I you know, especially when I can afford to be. If I can afford to be naive or gullible, sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm like not necessarily super often. But I feel like there are some times where it's like, okay, let's turn the discernment intuition down a little bit and just let this play out because maybe I'm wrong, right? My intuition isn't always on point. I mean, my discernment isn't necessarily always on point, right? Maybe there's my desire or my aversion that affects how I process what I'm intuiting. And this could be one of those times. So let me just like, and then it's like, yeah, girl, okay, well, hey. The Fool at the bottom of the deck with the King of Pentacles coming out. Eyes to be unclouded and your vision to become clear. Actually, so take this for what it is. I'm gonna like take a breath, take a beat, and we're gonna come back to this deck. How about that? As I'm still like reeling, apparently, from this revelation. I feel like that's a revelation of something that I was seeking but not expecting. I thought that, you know. Anyway, okay, let's breathe, girl. It's like, no, let it play out. You see what you see. You know what you know. All right, final card from the Crow Tarot. Ooh, that made a lot of noise. It flew, but it did not flip. So I got a glimpse, but oh, there we go. Interesting. The Knight of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. There are parts of motion. We see 3 out of 4. Well, we see 2 out of 3 of motion and 1 at rest. This bird is at rest. This bird is in flight, and this bird is like landing. The bird that's like taking off, I would say take off, in flight, and landing are the 3 parts of motion. The takeoff, but with the energy of prophetic dreams, with the prophetic part of the dream not necessarily being a event for event prophecy, but more like the vibe or something that portends something else. Right. I would say like sometimes we view prophecy or the prophetic nature of dreams as a recreation or a pre-creation of events, but it's like, it could be, girl, you could say, ooh, that horse is taking off. That horse took off. This horse is taking off. So there's the takeoff. We got takeoff, in flight, and landing. And then the stillbird. A little word play, because why not? Three cards came out again. The Nine of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. The thing about the Nine of Cups is there's this sun. The crow is standing on top of the cups and eye level with the sun. And there's also the sunflower. So there is like a Queen of Wands energy, sun energy here. Three, four, two is 9. Something about this apple. I watched Charmed, and there was like apples that they had used as like protection or something like that. I don't know how, but that's what's coming to mind. There's apples here too. So, ooh, there's also 2 keys. There are 2 apples and 2 keys. Oh, so there's like on this level, there's this apple. On this level, there's this apple. Right. So it's giving me, because they're on 2 different levels, it's like there's a gateway, a pathway that is protected. It's like anchored and protected on both ends. So again, in the case of like the liquid light that's carving its way through night on one hand, and then the arrow that's piercing the heavens on the other hand, so that this a connection can be formed for these 2 things. To me, girl, I just watched the one episode of Yu-Gi-Oh with Duke Devlin and his dungeon dice monsters, and he was gonna create this warp gate so that he could have easy access to his opponent, but his opponent completed the gate and used the that gate to attack him. So that one like was not protected or whatever. Even in that one show, I feel like I've been seeing, not all over the place. Is that a wormhole? I've been seeing that, like, the kind of like that, where it's like this and like that. And the other thing, it was vertical though. I think when they drew it, it was horizontal, but it was more vertical. She's giving wormhole, but each entry point is protected. But there's still like a level above even that. And then there's the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles, it's like it sits, all three of these birds actually are sitting very similarly, or are postured very similarly. And they're postured like the bird at rest on the back of the horse, more so than like the crow or the hummingbird. Um, between the Ace of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles is a frame or a scaffold, and the Page of Pentacles, it is like built out and complete. I feel like this is low key a little bit beyond me, because I'm like, oh wait, I have the book. Am I gonna use it? Nah. I mean, this could be a representation. Like the Nine of Cups into the Ace of Pentacles feels like it's a representation of like when we follow our desires. It's like there are certain truths that we arrive at by following our desires. This reads more as like desire being met, more that than um, the mental, spiritual, and maybe even emotional exercise that we saw with like the High Priestess, and that energy of like, and you know, get clear on like what it is that we desire. This feels like they're like these desires have been met, these two are connected, and then it's like that you end at the fish, and then it's like you go up here, and then after all of these desires have been met, then someone, like there's some kind of truth maybe of the self that someone realizes, recognizes, or of their purpose. Right. And there was the like the thing with the Ace of Swords and the High Priestess, the later most recent vibe was like the other way around. Like there are things that the divine point that I realized that what I actually desired was community. Right, for example. And like that's this. And now with an acknowledgement of the innermost or truest desire, here's the scaffold for how this person now interacts with the world. And now because they know what they truly desire, they can like build out that pentacle to create a life that is truly fulfilling for them. And maybe that's something that takes into account all of those forms of movement, right? There are things that they have to initiate the takeoff. There are things that they are doing that they like keep doing, like the things that they maintain, right? If they truly desire community, let's say that there are new interests that they engage or new groups that they engage with those interests. That's the takeoff. Let's say that there are like relationships and partnerships that they also tend to. That's what they maintain. Let's say that one of those relationships becomes more significant and or whatever, that's the one that like lands. Or you could say there are some relationships that shift. Either way, either some that deepen or some that transform in any other kind of way. And those are the ones that's like it lands it. And the bird that sits on the back of the horse as the horse does its journey, is that not the snake? That bird is a snake. Wasn't it the snake? No, it was the rat. I'm pretty sure it was the rat. Was it the rat that rode on the back of the horse? And that's why the rat like beat the dragon and all of these other animals. It's like the rat beat the dog, really? It's like, yeah, because the rat was smart. Pretty sure it was the rat. Um, but that bird symbolizes the person who is aware of it all, that doesn't get so lost in any particular aspect of that creating, maintaining, and transforming relationships that they forget the not the purpose behind it, but that they maybe like lose themselves. Because sometimes we can lose ourselves in a whole bunch of stuff, right? As someone that remains aware of the entire situation. Ooh, I'm pretty sure it was the rat. Let me ask. See, I feel like now I'm like low key obsessed. Let me see if Gemini can answer. Hey Google. Wasn't it the rat and the race of the Chinese zodiac that rode on the back of another animal and placed higher?
Yes, the rat rode on the ox's head. Just as they reached the shore, the rat leapt forward to claim first place. Would you like to know how the other animals finished the
Yep,
race?
there you go. But you know it's Gemini, so I feel like I still gotta confirm. I gotta. I guess I could have asked for the sources. The year of the rat. Okay. The first sign of the Chinese zodiac. Yep, yep, yep. Intelligent, popular, and loves attending parties and large social gatherings. It wants community. But I think that's the thing. So if the bird would to lose itself, it would forget that community is what it actually desires. And in the process of forgetting, like maybe it's like it's attending all of these social gatherings and it's like it's really popular and it knows all these people, but it's still not fulfilled. And maybe you could say the bird goes even deeper into community, sort of like defines what community means to it a little bit. But with that knowledge and awareness, it's like it can remember to forge those deep connections, to take it beyond the surface or to be more than just popular, right? Cool. I love how it all works together. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Now I'm coming back to you. I feel like we have cleansed. Now it's in my mind again. I should have just, it's fine. The Queen of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles. I don't even know if you saw those. All right, final card. Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords, Queen of Pentacles? No. Excuse me. Oop, okay. Judgment just flipped over. Bottom of the deck is the Fool. The Fool is still at the bottom of the deck, but this time it came out with Judgment. And behind the Fool this time is the Ace of Pentacles. There we see that Ace of Pennies again. The Chariot is behind the Ace of Pentacles. The Fool, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Chariot. But there was the Horse in that Knight of Swords card. There's Sphinxes in this Chariot, but you know. What an interesting combination. I'm seeing the people in this Judgment card that are like, specifically the one like right here. I need to cut my nails, I know. That one. Because it's like the Fool leaps off of the cliff and they don't die. So there's something between the Fool and Judgment. It's like it's going from being pushed out of the nest to soaring. Judgment is giving soaring. The Fool is giving learning how to fly. And because it's these two cards, like I don't see the ones in between, so it feels sudden. But the be candid and the root determination comes back to mind. And it's almost like just because someone's never done something before doesn't mean that they have to be like trepidatious and nervous and hesitant and slow. She's giving prodigy. She's giving natural talent, natural born talent. And it's like it may not necessarily be the case. It's just like they're really, this is an energy that's really good at just like moving forward and not letting fear sort of interfere more than it has to. Was it the healing card that mentioned fear? Not letting fear be an obstacle? Like it can be a challenge, but it doesn't have to be an obstacle. All right. Final card from the African American Tarot. Oh, look, the Priestess is at the cut again. The Priestess and the Knight of Wands. She's low key giving Quetzalcoatl because of the wing and the serpent. This Knight of Wands is like intriguing. Or just like shedding. It's like shedding one species. Like the snake sheds its skin when it grows. But this individual is like shedding their species. Speaking of like the Fool in Judgment, how it just like soars. It is an energy. It's like there's no. It's almost like this is the same organism, but one of these transformation processes is just like drastic and extreme. And it's like the difference between a caterpillar and a butterfly. The difference is we see caterpillars create their cocoons. we see the caterpillar go in, we see the butterfly come out, and we have an idea of what happens in the in between. And so we know that they're the same species. But it's like here, there is no cocoon. It's like the caterpillar is the cocoon for the butterfly. And one day it just like bursts out of its own skin. And because there's no observable intermediary phase, we assume it's completely different. Now the snap sword down here, this is something that just like breaks the brain, completely changes our whatever. It's like, you know, this, like they're actually the same. You know, caterpillars and butterflies, they're like actually the same organism. And you're like, what? How? Butterflies have wings. Caterpillars just like eat leaves all day. Hello? High Priestess is like, I'm about to blow your mind. And you're just like, whoa. It's like whenever someone has a glow up, right? Like, let's say that in high school someone wasn't popular, but then after high school they have a glow up, and at the 10-year reunion you go back and they're like this supermodel. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was you? And they're like, yeah, it's me. And you're like, when did all this happen? And they're like, I was always a supermodel on the inside. Wow. The Ten of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the King of Swords. I need to find a queen. Give me a second. The Ten of Swords is under the Queen of Swords, King of Swords. Now I'm seeing all the kings. Where before it was all the queens. Okay. Oh, okay. The crowns are different. The King of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. It would be wild if this was who I think it may be. Sword, excuse me. Protector god of mankind. Is it Asa? Rationality and logic, love of the law, care for the weaker, intellectual realization of the self, cautious, objective person. Intellectual realization of the self. The Ten of Wands is the one that came out. Ten of Wands is the Night Walkers, Evil Witch Doctors, and Charles Young. Duplicity, hidden intentions, ambiguity, oppression, fatigue, and exhaustion. That ambiguity, hidden intentions is one thing, because there's been so much about intentions and stuff like that. Excuse me. Ambiguity here, rationality, logic, and an intellectual realization of the self at the bottom of the deck. Well, there's an owl here. This is the Nine of Wands, the most Nine of Wands looking as Ten of Wands. Here's the Ten of Wands. Here's the King of Swords. Oh, the King of Swords is like, try it. Protector of mankind. It's like there's a clarity around the King of Swords that removes ambiguity and makes hidden intentions plain. Kind of sort of going back to the whole, let me pretend like I forgot, candor. Going back to the whole candor and authenticity conversation. Like the Ten of Wands could be that candid, inauthentic energy that uses candor as a method or as a means to deceive. And then the King of Swords is the one with like rationality and logic that's like, wait a second. Answer, riddle me this and riddle me that. And if your intention, if what is truly aligned and authentic to you is blah, 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 then why are you doing this? And you can play as upset and you can play candid and you can do all of this. I will allow you your performance. Very moving, very moving. You should be nominated for like an Oscar or whatever, a Tony, an Emmy. What do you call them? What do you call them? Is it a Tony? Is it a Tony? Am I thinking of Tonys? Like if, for like the theater world, are those Tonys? Yeah, best actress in a musical. Okay. Tony is Antoinette? What? I just always assumed Tony was some guy. The Antoinette Perry Award for Excellence in Broadway Theater. So yeah, I was thinking of a Tony. Um, was Tony like the first one I said? Anyway, the King of Swords is the one that's like, wait a second, something's not adding up here. And wands are passion and creativity, and the 10 is the master of his craft. And it's also interesting because the King of Swords is an owl in the Wild Unknown Tarot, which I thought about grabbing earlier, but I never did. So we see a depiction of the King of Swords in this Ten of Wands. But maybe the Ten of Wands doesn't know that that's the King of Swords. That's how the King of Swords knows that it's an act. Because the King of Swords was there when the truth was revealed. When the true face was revealed, the King of Swords was there. So now that the act is being put on, that's how they know. It's like, wait, 1 and 1 ain't making 2. You trying to sell me that 1 plus 1 is 35. But it's not, because the sword is at rest. It may be like not accusatory. It's a very I don't want to say non-confrontational. It's a very like non-aggressive, non-confrontational reproach. It's like it is confrontational, but it's not confrontational in the means of like whatever, because it's confronting the lie. What is the ultimate? Let's keep these here. What is this like in relation to? Like, where's the connection? Where's the bridge? Or is this just like what it is. What it is. I'll give it 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. 2 cards flipped over. Got a smooth flip and then another flip. The 2 of Swords and the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups is here again. We just saw the 9 of Cups. Because the 2 of Swords is here. Oh, girl. My initial impression of this was this duplicity is not malintended. Like the duplicity is genuine. Was my first interpretation. But now, with the 2 of Swords and the 9 of Cups, it can also read as like who and how someone thinks that they who and how someone thinks they have to be to get what they want. On one hand, there's just like someone is split within themselves, like they don't yet realize that what they truly desire is community. For example, they're just like super social, always at these parties, trying really hard to be popular, maybe succeeding at being popular, but still not being fulfilled. Like they still haven't realized that what they actually crave is community. So, for example, the King of Swords, if they're friends or in a less antagonistic environment situation, if the King of Swords and the Ten of Wands are friends, then the King of Swords is like, you like you invest so much in like all of these things and like you're always at these parties but like you never really seem like you're enjoying yourself, or it's like when the party is over and when it's just us two or whatever, it's like you're like a different person, or like you seem so down, or it's like what's going on, like what's happening. And maybe again, either, well, on the in the vein of like the duplicity is genuine and authentic, like the person hasn't yet realized that what they truly desire is a sense of community, and there's an intimacy that is there in this dynamic because they're having that conversation, but community is more than just between two people. It's like community, right? And so maybe throughout the process of this conversation, the King of Swords helps this Ten of Wands individual realize that what they truly desire is community. Or, on the other side, if it is more of that intentionally duplicitous and more confrontational, like maybe the King of Swords is like, you're like, you say all this and you do all of these things, you pretend to care, but I know, or we know, or it is known, it is apparent that it's just to get votes for the upcoming election, right? You're holding all of these social parties and like really taking this platform or that platform, not because you care, but because it's going to get you votes type energy. And that's just, it's low hanging fruit for the whole like social party, whatever, community type thing, right? It's not, girl. But yeah. Now I'm looking at this 9 of Cups. I'm like, is this the 9 of Cups that I saw? I don't think this is the card that I saw. Was it the 8 of? No, we saw the 8 of Cups. I'm pretty sure this is the same. It was the 8 and the 9 of Cups. But for some reason, in my recollection, it was different. I'm like so sure it's the same card, but the art looks so different to me. Maybe I just like glanced at it earlier and I didn't really take it in because it wasn't. Um, note. It wasn't what I was really reading. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same card, but it looked different. Did I not just see this card? Hold up. I feel like I'm losing my mind now. I'm like, wait, didn't I see this card at the top of the deck? Hello? Did I not see this card like up here? And I know I don't have duplicates. I saw that. Maybe it's the Seven of Pentacles I was thinking about. Okay, alright, maybe not. Of course not, because I don't have duplicates in this deck. So, yeah. Anyway. This is the card. Because in my recollection of it, there was like this snake dinosaur thing on the left, and this like sunflower on the right. But there's like this lady emerging from the water. And this is a crown. Like, that's not a sunflower, that's a person wearing a crown. Oh, a bird of paradise. Speaking of Kirsty, I actually saw a reel about birds of paradise not too long ago. I was like, oh, I saw a bird of paradise when I went to Kew Gardens with Kirsty. Yep. So yeah. I mean, I don't know if it ultimately matters either way. But this tool is like, this is, I originally interpreted the um duplicity as genuine because like this is someone not at war with themselves, but it's just like they don't know. Excuse me. They don't have to be at war with themselves, but they can be. And I guess that could be another thing, right? It can be um, intentionally misleading, or it can be genuine. And like maybe the person doesn't know. And maybe that's why either way it feels like the approach of the King of Swords is the same. Right? Whether consoling or confrontational, it just like calmly speaks what is. Doesn't make a big deal out of it. Just like, you know. Cool. Alrighty. So thanks, Kirsty, for stopping by. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way you find. And I feel like there's like one more deck, one more card that I want to pull. Sure, I'll pull one of these. Oh, which one? Left or right? Left or right? Right. We'll go for the right. Oh, I should have went left. Affirmators, love, and relationships. I'm just going to pull a random affirmator, and that's going to be the card that ends it. I mean, I say I should have pulled left because the left was what's in my mind, but just because that's what was in my mind doesn't mean that that's what I was meant to pull. Right? In my mind's eye. And honestly, it's the same family, so. Alright. Affirmator for the lovely folks at home to conclude, wrap up this excursion into the realms beyond, between, and underneath. Yeah. You too. It was so nice to see you. We gotta do this again sometime. But, hopefully IRL. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. It just like spit affirmation at me. Hello? Is this 3 cards again? I got 3 cards again. I don't know what's up with threes today. I guess 1221 is a 33, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3. Now it's 1, 2, 3 a.m. Okay. So first we have boundaries. I claim my right to set healthy boundaries, and I allow others to do the same. Sometimes personal space is taken, and sometimes it's given. And sometimes, if you're on the subway, it's completely disregarded and shamelessly invaded. I guess it depends on the day. Like, I'd be like, there's all this space, and you gotta sit right next to me. Levity. Laughter is the best legal medicine. The best legal, in parentheses, medicine, and it looks like it's time for you to take a sweet, sweet hit of it. When someone annoys you, I was literally just like, that would annoy me. I'm like, oh, that space, and you sit right next to. Goodness, laughter is the best medicine, and it looks like it's time for you to take a sweet, sweet hit of it. When someone annoys you or a plan goes awry, try finding something funny in there. And if you ever feel like the butt of the joke, remember that the only difference between someone laughing at you and someone laughing with you is that in the first version, you're not laughing. Poop their pants. Yes, that's probably it. So, levity, don't take it personally, and boundaries. I feel like the last two are so interesting compared to the first one. I claim my right to set healthy boundaries and I allow others to do the same. Sometimes personal space is taken, sometimes it's given, and sometimes, if you're on the subway, it's completely disregarded and shamelessly invaded. I guess it depends on the day. With levity and don't take it personally. Maybe, for example, right, bottom of the deck is independence. I embrace total independence and I see how empowering that is. Even when I'm in a relationship, I can still be independent by meeting my own needs and creating my own happiness. When I do that, I'm the fullest version of myself and I have much more me to give without needing pieces of me in return. Take it personally. It's like if someone needs to set boundaries with you, you could say, if someone needs to set boundaries with you, or if someone communicates certain boundaries, maybe with the independence, like it's what they need for them. And so, like, it's not like boundaries aren't an attack on anyone, right? If someone's like, hey, this is my boundary, that's just like, it's not personal. Boundaries aren't personal. Like, healthy boundaries aren't personal. Whether or not like we choose to respect them can make it like more personal. The um like invasion, infiltration, disregard, the disregard of boundaries like can make it personal, but it's like boundaries themselves aren't personal, they're like for the person. And so maybe it's just like a, or even if like someone, right, like when it comes to other people's boundaries, it's not personal. When it comes to establishing boundaries, like there's a light and impersonal way to do it. And again, it's like, almost like something with the that King of Swords' approach carries through, and I feel like we may have seen it maybe in the Be Candid of the Whispers of Lord Ganesha. it was like you can be candid, but still be like you don't have to be hurtful in being candid. You can just be honest, and you can still be compassionate and show like sympathy and care for another person in establishing boundaries, in being candid, in whatever, right? So yeah. Anyway, um, I'll catch y'all later. I think I don't know how this works because if I were to end this here, oh wow, she's really modular now. Okay, love it. Oops. Okay, how do I do this? There we go. If I were to end this over here, it would just like cut the video off. So if I end the stream here, oh, okay, now the frames are jumping apparently. I don't know if that was happening while I was live, but it looks like they were just jumping. I think if I end it here, it'll play out and then end. What is happening? Have I been like choppy or something? I'm like watching it back and it's like kind of jumping a little bit. I don't know. Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. But how do I let this like finish what I'm saying? A little? Wait. If you're already replying to me, I am so confused. Because it's like you're replying in real time or closer to real time. And as I'm watching it, I feel like I haven't even said what you replied. what you replied to yet. Where is this? I am so confused. So what if I end the stream here? I don't know. I just go live now. Stop streaming or end broadcast. yeah, I don't know. All right, I'll end it here and we'll see.